and we are live. So, good evening, everyone. I was hoping tonight to do a live commentary of the Jamir final between EU and the US. However, as you are probably already aware, there's been an issue. So, as you know, in yesterday's semi-finals, Dgen had some problems, so he lost his match by default. And in what I believe has been a good move by GT Arcade, GT Arcade has decided to talk to all four semi-finalists and try to rearrange the matches. So as of now, we do not know when the final or if there will be again a new semi-final to be played. So that is still to be commented by GT Arcade. So we'll see. Hopefully next week we will know more. So given we have this time, I thought to have a look at team composition. So someone on Reddit, Alex, asked to look at team composition, and so I think it's a good idea to look at team composition for the Dgen versus Peepoodur EU final that I commented live a couple of days ago. So what we need to keep in mind is that of course we're talking about Jamir team composition. So what that means is that if a player wants to win in Jamir, he needs to have 18 Saints able to win against the opponent. So 3 teams of 6 Saints each. So this is clearly very different respect to, for example, Galactic Duel, where having a much more restricted roster can usually work. And for example, in Galactic Duel right now, the key Saints are, I would say, the 4 fundamental Saints. That is Hypnos, Ophiuchus, Thanatos, and Gemini Cannon. So these 4 Saints are very significantly above the rest of the Saints. So if in Galactic Duel you have those 4 Saints, you already have a strong start. And then for the remaining spots in the team composition, or assuming that 1 or 2 of these 4 top tier Saints have been banned, we need some support Saints. And at the moment, the most frequent support Saints being used are Divine Cloth Shun, Underworld Shun, June, and one that is not showing right now, but is very, very common to be found, is Aphrodite. So this Shiryu is also a fairly common choice to be seen. So as I said, the top 4, Hypnos, Ophiuchus, Gemini Cannon, and Thanatos, combined with some of the top support or defensive Saints, that is DC Shun, Underworld Shun, June, DC Shiryu, Aphrodite. So now, having said that, how can then one try to arrange 3 different team compositions for Jamir? Is clearly very tricky, but let's look at the team compositions used by Dgen and Peepoodur, and let's understand how they work. So the first match, so Dgen using a Hades Sea Dragon Cannon combo. which is a team quite strong right now. Of course, Dgen did win the first match with this team, but it is a team that will become even more relevant probably after next week, after the repaired cloth for Hades is released. Now, how does this team work is very simple. So it's based on Canon exiling one enemy, and then the AoE from Mew with Hades Shun double turn, and from Hades is meant to effectively kill the enemy that has been exiled, and then with the overflow damage to kill the rest of the team. Now, before the repaired cloth for Hades, this team has a main weakness, that is Hades is not that strong defensively. Now, for those who are aware, when Hades repair cloth is released, Hades will effectively gain a diminished pact the moment he casts the Eclipse, which means that already on the first turn, Hades will be much more stronger defensively, and also the second effect will be that when after 2 turns, when the Eclipse does activate, Hades will release a very significant cosmic attack AoE. So that AoE will count for Canon's Triangle, which is why this team composition will become so strong once Hades Repair Cloth is released. So nothing much more to say about this composition, but we'll definitely see it more frequently also in Galactic Duel, probably from next week or so. So then we have Peepoodur, who is using a fairly defensive freeze team. So as we can see, we got Camus and Yoga, who are the core of the freeze team, and then also Hypnos to create additional control states, and then Aiolia to create massive damage on all the controlled targets. So this team used to be quite frequent in Galactic Duel before the arrival of Thanatos and even Gemini Canon. It is much less frequent to meet the freeze team now with the arrival of Thanatos and Canon. So what effectively Peepoodur has done in this case, he has replaced who used to be like the second DPS of the team, which used to be Mew, or the second support of the team, which used to be Divine Cloth Shun or Underworld Shun. So he has replaced them with Ophiuchus. So what this does, it makes it a very strong defensive team, because when you have the healing from Hypnos with June, supported by the heal from Ophiuchus, it becomes very or almost impossible to beat this team. So Dgen did manage to win the fight thanks to the control introduced by Canon, and thanks to the additional control introduced by Golden Yoga, who redirects the attack from Yoga onto a target which is either immune, such as Mew, or who doesn't have the 2 stacks. So very interesting comp. So we'll see that unfortunately Peepoodur used the same comp in all 3 fights, and what I would say is we immediately see why the freeze team is no longer played that frequently in Galactic Duel, because the third game finished after one action, because Dgen's Gemini Cannon, with his first attack, immediately killed Aeolia. So at that point, Aeolia being effectively the sole DPS of the team, and probably also because Dgen had a very strong team against the Freeze team with Minos and Shion in particular, the game was over. So of course is Dgen's cannon, we're talking about a cannon with 10.7k extra cosmic attack, so not many cannons will manage to kill an Aeolia with this much HP and this much cosmic defense. But clearly when we talk about players at a different level, still having the risk of cannon killing either your main DPS or, for example, getting Yoga in his Dragon Teeth territory, that does explain why the freeze team is no longer that frequent. Anyway, having said that, we can now go to the second composition used by Dgen to win the second game against Peepoodur, and is an interesting composition. Is a mix of offense and defense, very balanced. So we see Nero Priest using 1 mana to effectively silence one of the main 3, that is Gemini Cannon, Hypnos, or Ophiuchus. And then we have Ophiuchus, Repair Cloth Mu, and DC Shiryu, providing defensive abilities and also offensive for Repair Cloth Mu. And we have Athena to provide the extra mana and also the fatality when needed. So we need to say this is a fairly heavy energy usage team, and that's why Athena is needed here. And in particular, if we think about the first turn, when 3 manas, 3 energy are available, if we think that immediately Nero Priest uses 1, we have then Ophiuchus, who can use 2, and we have Repair Cloth Mu, who can use 2, and also DC Shiryu, who can use 3. So it can be a very intense, heavy energy use first turn, but that's why Athena is needed in this team composition, because when facing the likes of Hypnos, because of the constant damage Hypnos does on one target, and Athena, like Dgen's one, can not only generate the initial 2 energy, but can generate 3 additional energies every time Hypnos hits the target. So with that, Athena generates potentially 5 additional manas, and that's how potentially someone with this team can manage to use Nero Priest, 2 manas for one of Ophiuchus' secrets, 2 manas for the wall on himself from Mu, and also 3 manas from DC Shiryu. So in this case, we need to keep in mind that this Thanatos is playing with the Chimera, so that in the first round, Thanatos goes from this position to behind DC Shiryu in speed, which means that when DC Shiryu activates his shield, Mu and Thanatos will be under his protection. So again, a very strong team. The presence of Nero Priest allows to control one of the very fast threats like Gemini Cannon or Hypnos, or potentially even Nichiminos in a team that isn't particularly fast. So that was the second composition, and then again a very interesting team composition for the third match, where we have two very strong controls, such as Minos and Andromeda Shun, together with the support provided by June plus Hypnos, providing very strong healing, and the DPS provided by Cannon, and DPS and or control resistance by Xion. So as I've already mentioned shortly ago, in this match, Dgen made the amazing choice of attacking with Cannon, and I guess that was because Peepoodur's team had no Underworld Shun, and effectively because like this Ioria was probably like Dgen calculated that he would have been able to kill. But I'm sure that had Peepoodur used, for example, Hades Shun, in that case, Dgen would have saved the 3 manas for Cannon to likely activate Hypnos, or for example Andromeda Shun, depending on the team. So if we look at the team in particular, like this team would have been very strong in any case, because Minos, even without Ichi, can reach fairly elevated speeds, which means that a Minos controlling Camus could have easily removed all the freeze stacks from the team, and again a Minos controlling Hypnos can easily avoid marks being placed on Dgen's Hypnos and waste 1 energy every round for Peepoodur's Hypnos by casting Inverted Reality. So Minos is an absolutely excellent choice against a team like this. The only weakness that has to be remembered is that when Hypnos controls Camus, because of the damage that Hypnos does with his skill, Minos will gain some freeze stacks, which means that Yoga, when it's his turn, can potentially freeze Minos and so free Camus from Minos control. But that's I guess why Dgen is also playing Andromeda Shun, who is again a very strong control. It is for certain aspects better than Minos, because even if Andromeda Shun is frozen, still his restrict remains in place. But is of course worse than Minos, because for the point that it cannot force, for example, Camus to remove all the freeze stacks, or it cannot, for example, force Ophiuchus to place a secret that is not going to produce much effect potentially in the battle. So, for example, controlling Ophiuchus, Minos could cast the secret to shatter walls, which against Dgen's composition would be effective against Xion, but versus other compositions could be a waste of 2 manas. So very, very interesting team compositions for both opponents, and I will review tomorrow and in the next days the team compositions for also the other key matches. I'll probably review the one of the semi-finals between EU and US next. And again, do remember to subscribe. Do remember to suggest what guides or showcases or any other feedback that you will want to show as next videos. Other than that, thank you very much for watching, and see you